I was thinking, if it's this hard for me, if it was this hard to be believed, I had mountains of evidence. I documented things that most women don't have the luxury of even thinking about.
Johnny Depp's defamation case against his ex-wife Amber Heard was largely successful, but she disagrees with the jury's decision. She sat down for the first time since the verdict to discuss why she lost. In an interview with NBC, the actress had a few unkind words to say about the jury, which made her lose. This might have angered Judge Penny Askerit, who has been ensuring that the trial was fair. So what exactly did Amber Heard say about the jury? What do people think of her public interview? Keep watching to find out. Heard stated unequivocally that she does not hold the jury's decision against them. Indeed, she explicitly stated that she understands why they were taken with Depp and his case. However, she maintains that the jurors were eventually duped by the wrong things, including paid employees and randos. Her comments seem to have thrown off both the judge and the general public. Heard spoke with Savannah Guthrie on Today, and the full interview will air later this week. In excerpts from their conversation, she stated that she does not blame the jury for their decision. I understand, she admitted. He's a well-liked character, and people believe they know him. He's an amazing actor. When Guthrie asked Heard if she thought the jury was suspicious of her, she wondered how Depp's case couldn't have more convinced them. He's one of the world's most famous actors. He also had a slew of witnesses testify for him during the trial. And while the outpouring of negativity from strangers has been overwhelming, she's not taking it personally. I don't care what anyone thinks of me or what judgments you want to pass on what happened in the privacy of my own home, in my marriage behind closed doors, she declared. She had sat in those seats for 3 weeks and heard non-stop relentless testimony from paid employees, and towards the end of the trial, randos, she explained. She didn't specify which witnesses for Depp were random, but trial observers believe she was referring to a few rebuttal witnesses. A former TMZ employee, for example, testified that someone at Heard's camp worked for the outlet. He claimed that they were aware that Heard would go to court, file for a restraining order, and then emerge with a bruise on her cheek. In court, Heard refuted the accusation by asking what victim of domestic violence would want that. She suggested that those who came forward to testify in rebuttal had dubious motives. Amber Heard also thinks her social media representation was unfair, even if the jury did their best. Heard told Guthrie that she doesn't believe anyone, whether they believe her or not, can say her social media trial was fair. Her supporters stand up for her, but they are usually outnumbered. Even if you think I'm deserving of all this hate and vitriol, even if you think I'm lying, you couldn't tell me. Look me in the eyes and tell me that you think there's been a fair representation on social media, Heard said. You cannot tell me that you believe this is fair. People are convinced that Judge Penny will surely disapprove her appeal once the whole interview goes up on air. Twitter accused Amber Heard of insulting the jury's intelligence. Netizens were dissatisfied with Heard's words, believing that her statement was inconsistent. In addition, she sounded to them like she was insulting the jury, who did their best and gave up 6 weeks of their time for the trial. I just watched the NBC News video that was distributed today. Amber Heard does not hold it against the jury because Johnny Depp is a fantastic actor, and the jurors heard 3 weeks of testimony from paid employees and randos like at Devil's Night, and Morgan Termaine and Agnette Levy, the host and correspondent for Law and Crime Network, tweeted about the trial. To be honest, this appears to be an insult to the jurors' intelligence. She continued, "This is a slap in the face to the jury, as if they based their decision on his celebrity rather than the law. Amber, no. They saw right through your deception," another added. "Why should you insult the jury because you disagree with the verdict? You'd be singing a different tune if they ruled in Amber's favor," a third individual wrote. I love how she says she doesn't blame the jury, but clearly you do, because you insulted them and basically said they didn't do their job or take it seriously. I'd like to see her interviewed by someone who isn't going to take her poo emoji and tell her the truth, said a fourth user. It's an insult to the jurors and everyone who has followed the trial. It's also absurd to imply that she didn't have the opportunity to present her case. She could have called witnesses to back up her claims, but they didn't want to show up. The only ones who did were the experts she paid. A fifth user shared their thought. Meanwhile, Heard's supporters remained loyal to her. Some even addressed the allegations, claiming that the jurors lacked knowledge. They couldn't even figure out how to fill out the jury forms. It's not like there's a lot of intelligence to insult there, one person commented. I'll never understand why they use people with zero legal knowledge to decide someone's fate in America. SMH. Who came up with that stupid idea? Sincere inquiry from a non-American, another inquired. Not to mention the somewhat erratic verdict. They had no idea what they were doing, a third individual wrote. They delivered an inconsistent, contradictory verdict, had to ask the judge for clarification on what they were supposed to be doing, and couldn't even fill out a form correctly. They blew any credibility they had in terms of intelligence. To clarify, 3 judges found him guilty. The 4th one opined. The jury instructions were 37 pages long. How did they finish them in 2 days? Jurors were dozing off. They walked to the courthouse every day through a sea of Depp fans and signs. The court was packed with snickering fans who laughed at his sarcastic remarks. The bias is so obvious, a 5th user mentioned. What do you think of Amber's statements on the jury? Let us know in the comments down below. Make sure to like and subscribe for more.